James Clevery, Secretary of State for the Home Department. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by welcoming you and your delegation to Rwanda. It is indeed a pleasure to have you here as Rwanda and the UK continue to work together on our migration and economic development partnership. This partnership reflects Rwanda's commitment to protecting vulnerable people and our country's track record in welcoming and hosting refugees and migrants from around the world. Rwanda and the UK understand that there is a critical need to find innovative ways to address the suffering of migrants making dangerous, desperate journeys under the exploitation of criminal human smugglers. There is also a need to tackle the underlying causes driving people from their homelands. In other words, the boats will not be completely stopped unless we reverse the lack of opportunity and insecurity in countries around the world. The treaty we are have just signed today, will reinforce the mutually beneficial framework for cooperation that we have developed. It will re-emphasize in a binding manner already existing commitments that address the concerns raised in the legal process about the protection of asylum seekers. The treaty will also formalize the rule of law partnership with the UK. Together, we will build the capacity of our asylum system as a safe and human migration process. This partnership will also strengthen our asylum process system by exchanging best practices and providing capacity building and expertise in the area of migration. I want to reaffirm that the people relocated to Rwanda will be welcomed and that they will be provided both the safety and support they need to build new lives. Rwanda looks forward to further strengthening the cooperation with the United Kingdom and to implementing this treaty. Dear Home Secretary, dear James, I welcome you to deliver your remarks before we take a few questions from the media.
Foreign Minister, Vincent, thank you for welcoming me and my delegation here to Rwanda. You and I have had the opportunity to work in the past in my former capacity as the UK's Foreign Secretary. And in all our dealings, I have always found both you personally and your government to be professional, thoughtful, and serious partners on the world stage. And I think this is exemplified by the Migration and Economic Development Partnership that we have developed over recent months, and which we now strengthen and enhance through this treaty. As you have said, Rwanda has now established a strong reputation for the humane and professional administration of refugees and migrants. This is something understood by the UK and the multilateral community. The treaty that we signed today builds on that joint work. It takes the positive professional attitude that you and your government display and allies it with the work that the UK is doing to ensure that we break the business model of those evil people smuggling gangs. We want to make sure that people can live in safety and prosperity, and that is why, in addition to the migration element of this partnership, the economic development part is incredibly important. We recognise that people will understandably move away from conflict and from famine, and therefore it is in all our interests to address these long-term drivers of mass migration. But we should also make it clear that those people coming to the UK should do so through safe and legal routes, and that those who put themselves in the hands of people smuggling gangs will not be able to remain in the UK. But your country has made a clear and unambiguous commitment to the safety of people who come here. That has been displayed, and we have seen that in practice. You've also made a strong commitment to work with the UK and international partners in order to make sure that the robustness of your judicial system is clearly on display. And we are very proud to be a long-standing partner in that endeavour. This bilateral relationship today, this meeting today, is of course marking a particularly important part of our bilateral relationship. But I would also like to take this opportunity to expand upon the work that we are doing together in terms of your tourism, in terms of your agricultural sector, and in terms of your country's wider economic development. Rwanda has shown itself to be a strong and important partner to the UK. I'm very proud that this treaty today amplifies that relationship, and I'm very much looking forward to continue working with you in my new role as Home Secretary. Thank you.
Mr. Cleverly, you're far from the first Home Secretary to head here to try and get this project up and running. What makes you think this time it can be a success? And can you guarantee that migrants will be on their way here as soon as the spring? Or are you crossing your fingers and hoping for the best? And a question to Dr. Baruta, if I may. How frustrated are you at the ongoing delays in trying to bring about this policy? And were you offended by the judgment of the UK Supreme Court? Thank you both.
Chris, thank you for the question. The UK has been working with Rwanda not just as a Commonwealth partner on a range of issues, which I alluded to in my opening remarks, but specifically on the migrant and economic development partnership, migration and economic development partnership. Throughout the time that we've been working with the Rwandan government, they have shown an energy and a professionalism and a desire to work in a collaborative partnership way with the UK. And I've also, in my previous role as Foreign Secretary, seen that displayed across a number of other bilateral issues as well. Of course, we want to see this part of our wider migration plan up and running as quickly as possible. We feel very strongly that this treaty addresses all the issues raised by their lordships in the Supreme Court, and we have worked very closely with our Rwandan partners to ensure that it does so. I cannot see any credible reason why Rwanda's track record as a partner, including as a partner for the ECHR, long-term partner for the ECHR, bearing in mind the ECHR, I think sent 165 refugees to Rwanda the day following the Supreme Court judgment. So they clearly regard Rwanda as a credible long-term partner, just as we do. So I really hope that we can now move quickly. We've addressed the issues that were raised by their lordships in this treaty, and that will be reflected in domestic legislation soon, because we are absolutely committed to breaking the business model of these people smuggling gangs, to create a safe and welcoming environment with our friends and partners here in Rwanda, but also making sure that mass migration is well managed into the future.
Let me say that Rwanda's commitment is driven by our belief in what is right, rather than seeking external validation or praise. And Rwanda is proud to be part of a solution to a global crisis, that is the migration crisis. And it is crucial to recognize that the UK Supreme Court's reliance on speculative concerns rooted in UNHCR criticisms contradicted the UNHCR's own previous expressions of appreciation for Rwanda's inclusive refugee policies. So it begs the following question. How did we go from model to dangerous country in just 4 short years? And how much of this perception is linked to internal UK politics? This being said, I would say that there is always a room for improvement to any system designed by human beings, Rwandan or British. So this is the reason why we worked on this treaty, and we accepted to partner just to make sure we can improve our asylum system and that we have a fair and transparent system in place for those claimants to be able to appeal or just to have a judgment which is fair and transparent. Thank you.
Thompson from the Press Association. Home Secretary, how much additional money has the UK government agreed to pay Rwanda in light of this treaty? If you're unable to tell us, can you explain why, please? And a question for Dr. Biruta as well. Could you tell us if the Rwandan government continues to remain committed to this partnership, even if it faces further delays and setbacks? Or have you set a deadline on when you would withdraw your cooperation? Thank you.
Firstly, let me make it clear. The Rwandan government has not asked for, and we have not provided, any funding linked to the signing of this treaty. The financial arrangement, which inevitably comes as part of an international agreement, reflects the costs that may be imposed on Rwanda through the changes that this partnership has created in their systems, in their legal systems, and in their institutions. But this treaty, as I say, no money was asked for by the Rwandans for this treaty. No money was provided to the Rwandans for this treaty. Dealing with migration is important, and it is not a cost-free option. But we regard it as the right thing to do, both to protect our borders, to dissuade people from putting themselves in the hands of people smugglers and making these dangerous journeys, often in unseaworthy vessels, whether it be across the Mediterranean or across the Channel. Rwanda is helping the UK in our fight against illegal migration and people smuggling. They are doing so professionally, thoughtfully, and as a partner genuinely willing to work with us on, as Vincent has said, the Foreign Minister has said, on what is increasingly a global challenge.
Rwanda is very much committed to this migration and economic development partnership, and this is the reason why we worked with our colleagues from the UK to address the concerns of the UK Supreme Court, while we thought they were unfounded and unfair, but we worked together just to address those concerns. So we don't have a plan to withdraw from this collaboration. We have a plan to implement this partnership, and we remain open to just monitor the implementation and be able to adjust one or the other element which will need to be adjusted. So we are committed to the partnership, and we don't have a plan to withdraw from this collaboration.
Thank you very much, Vincent Gasana, Katie Press. If I may, Dr. Biruta, as has been stated, this agreement, now treaty of course, comes within the context of what is understood or was understood to be a global challenge of human traffickers and smugglers. Rwanda stepped forward to play its part. Primarily, the country now hosts a school from Afghanistan when the Taliban took over their country. They have been joined by Sudanese medical students. Their school is here too after the conflict in that country. You've also got this emergency transit mechanism from Libya, where it's scarcely believable people were actually being sold in slave markets, and they are now in Rwanda and thriving. And anyone who's been to the Mahama refugee camp, as I have, and seen the refugees who spent 20 plus years over there, know that while it's not home, it's a good place for people to bring up their children. Now, for all of that, in return for all of that, it seems that Rwanda is being introduced pretty much worldwide in the Supreme Court, the UNHCR, which itself has described Rwanda's policy as exemplary, their word. Bizarrely, goes to the Supreme Court and says Rwanda is an unsafe country to be. So are Rwandans entitled to ask themselves, why is Rwanda continuing this agreement? Why are they allowing themselves to be traduced? Why not just say, look, we've done our best, we are happy to step forward and participate in what is a global crisis, but we don't want this thrown in our faces anymore. What explanation would you give to them? Why is Rwanda bending over backwards over this?
We continued with this partnership because we believe that we are doing the right things to contribute to a solution to this global migration crisis. You mentioned it, we have refugees in this country from all over the world, from Sudan, from Afghanistan, and from the region. And we believe that we are doing the right things in receiving these refugees. The fact is that there are situations around the world which will continue to produce refugees. And it is not helpful for all of us to criticize a country like Rwanda, which is contributing to a solution, while we are not even addressing the root causes. I mean, all of us are not even addressing the root causes which produce those refugees. I said it, we were unfairly treated by international organizations, by the media, by courts, but we believe that we are doing the right things, and those who are criticizing us should bring up alternative to the solution we are proposing. So let's just move forward and implement what we have agreed to do, and just wait for those who are criticizing us to see what alternative system they are going to propose to this problem. Criticizing is one thing, but providing a solution is another one. So we are working on providing solution, and I think we will survive those criticisms from these various organizations and actors. Thank you.
I know the question wasn't directed at me, but with your indulgence, I'd like to make a few comments on this. I have a huge amount of admiration for the fortitude of the Rwandan government, who, as you say, have been the recipients of criticism, I think completely out of keeping with the effort that the government has been making on behalf of the UNHCR and other organisations and those refugees themselves. There is a desire, as you have heard, to keep improving those processes and work closely with international partners like the UK and others in order to continue that evolution and improvement of processes, just as all governments should seek to do. The UK and Rwanda are working on this because it is important, not because it is necessarily easy or that it buys you cheap or quick popularity. We do this despite the fact that it is difficult and sensitive, because if we don't address these issues, the people that will ultimately be the winners are the people smugglers. They are the slave traders. They are the criminal gangs, and they are the extremist voices who always take advantage of human difficulties and hardship. Rwanda is stepping forward to be a thoughtful and careful partner in solving these incredibly difficult international issues. I think that they deserve support in doing that, and I have been uncomfortable with the tone and the volume of some of the criticism directed at Rwanda for having the courage to step forward and to try and be part of the solution rather than part of the problem.